What up, everybody? Welcome to the Dig Deeper Network. I'm your host, Cody G. It's a pleasure to have you as always. Happy New Year to you. Hey, I have a couple stories that I have been blazing through today. And there are two stories that I wanted to group up, and it is about the media's favorite topic, Donald Trump. And he's got two stories that are viral about him currently. And it goes to show, if you're getting the attention, you're winning. That's just the way it is. And that's the message that I think that this story kind of resounds. The first story being, there is a skywriter, one of these airplanes that goes up, right in the sky. It's a rare thing that people do to advertise. If you've ever been to maybe like a beach town, you see helicopters flying around with flyers. Aerial advertising is definitely a rare thing to do, and it is not cheap. We have someone who they claim is a millionaire, and during the Rose Parade, and that is on New Year's Day, 2016, it's the way that they bring in the new year in New York City, a millionaire had someone skywrite, "Trump is disgusting," up in the air above the Rose Parade. Now you gotta think, wow, Trump's career must be ruined from this. This is devastating. This is a devastating blow. He keeps surviving each and every single one, and it seems like the media continuously wants to attack him, but it's not harming his numbers when they're generating all this hatred towards him, because he's ultimately getting the most attention, right? A lot of money was spent, a lot of money was wasted. If you want to push a liberal agenda, I think that the money that you put into slandering Donald Trump's name and ultimately making him more famous, should have put it into a local boys and girls club. You should have, made sure that you paid more taxes, put it into a charity. I could think of a ton, and I'm sure you can too, you can think of a ton of ways to invest this money. However, he just wanted to slander his name. And guess what? I bet you that he ultimately benefits from this. The second story that I have is another method to slander Donald Trump. Am I saying he doesn't deserve it? No, some things that people capture, some quotes that people are able to hold against him, he does come off racist. He does come off ignorant. Look, people have foot-in-the-mouth syndrome. I really think Trump's got it. I don't think everything that comes out of his mouth is gold, personally. The second story, Somali militant group al-shabab, which is known to be an affiliate of al-qaida, I believe, uses Donald Trump in video to recruit new U.S. followers. Now, I'm getting this from Vice News, and I am not sure how credible the source is. I know that Vice is pretty slanted to the left, as everybody's allowed to have their bias, of course. But they're going to come out and make it seem like, obviously, Trump is recruiting ISIS members. So Trump's appearance in the 51-minute video released on Friday is preceded by old clips of a radical U.S.-born cleric and prominent al-qaida figurehead who was killed by a U.S. drone strike. Yesterday, America was a land of slavery, segregation, lynching, and Ku Klux Klan. Clerk says, tomorrow it will be a land of religious discrimination and concentration camps. The West will eventually turn on its Muslim citizens. Now, they bring up a good point. Obviously, you isolate the thing that Donald Trump says, and I do believe that he stands by it, is the fact that, he doesn't want Muslims to come into the country until we figure things out. Now, that's the broad general wording of it. He's an off-the-cuff type of guy. Basically, the message he's trying to put out is, okay, well, if it's proving that within these Syrian refugees that people are committing crimes against the countries that are housing them, that perhaps we should hold off on bringing these folks in so we can prevent terror attacks. Ultimately, this is his point, is that he wants to avoid terror attacks, so let's hold off on it. Now, race-wide, it's hard to make a big sweeping generalization. However, I don't think Donald Trump is the reason that ISIS is being recruited. Barack Obama is the face of the nation currently, and the fact that they care about someone who might be president in the next year or two really is kind of irrelevant. I don't think I can continue to defend for everything that Donald Trump is going to say, everything that comes out of his mouth. I mean, he's got a lot more dumb quotes that are going to come out. I think ultimately it's not going to pan out very well for him, because if you remember when Mitt Romney was running against Barack Obama, that was basically what kind of won people over, was the fact that Mitt Romney slipped up and said something about half Americans are lazy. Half Americans don't contribute to society. So they isolated that and made it seem like he's an extremely bigoted person who doesn't have good ideas for the country. Now, I would have voted for Barack Obama at the time of this election. I actually didn't vote that year, but what a piece of shit. But honestly, he's gonna keep sticking his foot in his mouth. He's gonna keep generating attention. He's gonna continue to lead in the polls. Donald Trump is kind of strategically bringing on the haters so that he can prosper. It's just the way that it is. And I bet you it's gonna be successful for him. As for me, I think the skywriting thing on New Year's was dumb. I don't think that that helped anybody. I think that was a giant waste of money. I'd like to see how much money was spent in order to do that. And as far as his material, his speech being included in ISIS recruiting video, that seems pretty dangerous. I just don't understand why someone that's running for president at this stage, I don't know why, you know, they would use that. Obviously, they could be saying, you know, this is the face of American bigotry, this is the face of the new American, and this is why we need to wipe out the West. I could see that perspective being put on Donald Trump, and in that case, you know, perhaps I want a presidential candidate that's going to be more worldly and diplomatic. You know, I don't want Donald Trump to be coming out with, you know, the like bad statement after bad statement, and, you know, we're being held liable, and tensions rise, and, you know, they start to bring the war into our country. Currently, I'm totally convinced that we are infiltrated by ISIS already, just among our citizens. There are just way too many people to keep track of in America, and it's proven that we don't do a good job of doing that. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. This has been the Dig Deeper Network, covering Donald Trump today. My name is Cody G. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you thought. A like, a comment, a subscribe, anything. Let me acknowledge your existence. That would be great. I'm going to blaze through a couple more stories, and I'll see you next time.